I'm in an area that would overlook the road I walked up to the Acropolis almost 3 weeks ago on, and similar to some of what I saw there, these are dwellings that were hollowed out of this rock. I'll show you a plan of the inside of it in a moment. These various holes that are carved in represent positions where beams were placed so they could extend the living and use space further out. Looks like it was 3 stories high. You'll notice that that second story, that there was a set of stairs carved in above. So this is the edifice that we could see from the Parthenon the first day I went up there. By doing an about face, you get to see the Parthenon on the Acropolis and the Erectiothon in the background, and the Propylon right to the left there. You see evidence of where this hillside's been carved out for various monuments and mini monuments in the past. View towards the ocean. The only interesting thing I see, which is that building down there. That one. Huh. Beyond the Acropolis, to the right, is the hill I climbed up after I went on my first visit to the National Museum. That, I believe, is the National Gardens down there. That building, of course, is the Acropolis Museum. I wonder if those green spaces are parks. I hope so. Hillside, which is mainly stone, although it seems to be hidden by vegetation, all has been carved up and used for something. You can see the flat angular human surfaces everywhere, all the way up this little canyon or gorge or whatever you want to call it, coming down off of where that last monument was looked at. And here beneath you can see where substantial carving out has been done for whatever purpose, don't know. But here are water channels where you can make out steps, and there you can make out the walls of buildings and more steps. So you can assume that in the past somewhere, all of this hillside that we've just panned through was covered with buildings. Apparently this was known as Koile Road, K-O-I-L-E Road. And we'll go down there in a moment, but it's interesting. This almost looks like a burial site. Might have been. Sign says road. First of all, notice this drainage ditch, which would make sense. But is that the rut of chariots, for example? And is there a possible allusion to it over on that side? Notice the specific rut there, although it's much deeper, not as deep as this one, but maybe this was the path cut later, I don't know. But you can see clearly that this was demarked for something down through here. Simply be a pragmatic element of the water system, bringing water down from up above. Cement structure there, looks like it could be part of it. All of this area, you can see that it was a basis for all kinds of buildings and so forth. This might have been just a bench inside of a building. Oh, it could be just an elaborate water system or piece of metal cemented into a hole there. And look at this, certainly looks like, God dang, why would they dig it that deep through solid rock? Makes sense that these would be walls and this would be a floor, and these could have been just cisterns. They could have had a method for bringing water in and putting it into the house and storing it like this. Look at the size of this area here. Could have been a quarry of sorts too. I mean, in part it probably was, serving all those functions. You can imagine this whole place a beehive of residential and commercial community. This is what we're looking at and walking through, and there's where what was in that large space we looked at a moment ago. That space up there, remember? Okay. Would have been over in here somewhere. Koile, formed at the junction of three western hills of the Acropolis, the Muses, the Sphinx, and the Nymphs, is one of Athens' most interesting archaeological sites, a road known to the historian Herodotus, 6th century BC, as the Koile Road, arrived from the east to join smaller roads coming up from the slopes of the hills. Its maximum width of 21 meters at the Koile and led to a gate belonging to the Themistoclean fortification wall, which is today lost. Indicate that on the street surface that deep wheel ruts prove its long-term use. A large rock-cut drain for the runoff of rain has also been identified. I'm sure that's part of what we saw. Fortification walls all around us that at various times did provide security and refuge for the inhabitants of Athens during the Peloponnesian War, apparently. The name was also called Skalakia, S-K-A-L-A-K-I-A, meaning small stairway, because of the number of them in this area that, again, we've always also seen. There were a cemetery of rock-cut cyst graves developed during the Hellenistic 3rd to 2nd BC and Roman periods, 1st to 3rd AD. The long stairway. I imagine, I'm guessing, that it was in the time of slavery that this existed, so there was slave labor force to do all that work. You know what these stones are remnants of, whether it's the early days or when.